Hello, I am Tarık Toros. Welcome to What's Happening in Turkey. A quarter of Turkey's voters say they will boycott the ballot box. As the summer recess ends, Turkey enters autumn under heavy strain. The economic crisis is deepening, inflation is out of control, the central bank is burning through foreign reserves to slow the lira's collapse, and the national currency has lost so much value that the largest banknote, 200 lira, can no longer buy a simple cheese toast. The latest opinion poll reveals that 23% of voters plan to stay home at the next election, effectively staging a boycott. This reflects not only the loss of trust in President Erdogan's ruling party, but also disillusionment with the opposition, which has failed to present a convincing alternative. In Ankara political circles, a common belief is emerging: Erdogan intends to remain in power for life. But his declining health makes that prospect uncertain, and even within his own party. People are openly speculating about what a post Erdogan Turkey might look like. Erdogan's declining health. Erdogan is fading day by day. His first came to power in 2002 when he was 49, today at 71. His health problems have become increasingly visible. He struggles to walk, is believed to rely on sport devices, and rarely speaks of the cough. Almost all of his public remarks are now delivered from a teleprompter or prepared scripts. Independent press conferences no longer exist. Only hand-picked state-accredited journalists are allowed in, asking pre-approved questions to which Erdogan reads pre-written answers. No official statements about his condition have ever been released. However, back in 2011 and 2012, he underwent two bowel surgeries amid rumors of colon cancer. Since then, he has never been seen in a public hospital. Instead, a fully equipped medical facility was built inside his presidential palace, where a team of specialists discreetly oversees his care. From time to time, Erdogan disappears from public view. His health dictates his schedule. In 2022, at the NATO summit in Brussels, Erdogan vanished right after the group photo. His seat at the meeting was quietly filled by his foreign minister. Turkish media, tightly controlled by the palace, never reported it. His international travel has also been reduced to a minimum, usually limited to short one-day visits. Inside Turkey, even mentioning the president's health is effectively forbidden. What little can be pieced together through open sources suggests only part of the story. Those closest to him see what the public cannot. Erdogan is running out of strength, and no combination of medicine, alternative therapy, or prayer seems to change that. Preparing a successor. For Erdogan's inner circle, the greatest threat is no longer losing elections, it is losing Erdogan himself. Over the past decade, state institutions have been radically reshaped to serve him personally. Entire sectors of Turkey politics, media, and business are now tied directly to his survival. Without him, insiders fear that the system could collapse. This reality is now being said out loud. Former Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu even declared on YouTube, "Whoever Erdogan points to after himself, I will support him." The most likely candidate is his son, Bilal Erdogan. Turkey has no tradition of dynastic succession, but the family seems to be preparing for it. Bilal already receives full state protocol wherever he goes, though he holds no formal office. His reputation, however, is tainted by the 2013 corruption scandal when leaked phone calls revealed Erdogan instructing him to hide, or, as Erdogan put it, to zero out large sum of cash at home. Another possible successor is Erdogan's son-in-law, Selçuk Bayraktar, who controls Turkey's lucrative defense industry contracts and has built a fortune that landed him on the Forbes billionaires lists. Yet many believe Erdogan will ultimately prefer blood ties and pass the torch to his son. A third contender is Hakan Fidan, the longtime intelligence chief and current foreign minister, who is widely perceived as positioning himself for the post-Erdogan era. But most observers agree on one point: the ruling AKP is unlikely to survive Erdogan's departure. Without his personal authority, the party would splinter, leaving Turkey in political free fall. A stormy autumn ahead. Turkey's Kurdish peace process, once viewed as a historic change to end decades of armed conflict, has stalled completely. In October 2024, Erdogan's nationalist ally Devlet Bahçeli pushed for negotiations focused solely on the PKK laying down arms. Beyond that, nothing advanced. Erdogan had promised that Turkey was on the verge of a terror-free future, but for nearly a year, Ankara has ignored calls for genuine peace and democracy. Today, few believe such promises. At the same time, Erdogan's strongest political rival, Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, has already spent 160 days in prison without even an indictment. Opposition parties, fragmented and under heavy legal pressure, cannot guarantee that any candidate they nominate will remain free. As autumn begins, Turkey faces deep economic collapse, an unresolved Kurdish conflict, a silenced opposition, and an aging, ailing leader. The uncertainty of a post-Erdogan transition is now seen less as a political question and more as a looming national crisis. I am Tarık Toros. You've been watching What's Happening in Turkey. See you next week.